welcome to Access International's roundup of its annual confidence survey. My name is Euan Youdale, editor of the magazine. In October, we asked manufacturers, distributors, rental companies and end users for their opinions about their expectations for growth for 2014. They gave us their predictions as far as sales expectations were concerned and rental expectations. We also broke down the results regionally to get an idea about how companies were doing generally around the world. So let's get started. Looking at the results of this year's survey, there is a real sense that the industry will be heading in the right direction during 2014. We only need to take a look at the graph showing confidence levels over the next 5 years across the manufacturers, rental companies and users. They were asked how they rate opportunities for their businesses out of 100 for that period. Together they came up with an average of 65.4 out of 100, which is at its highest since 2008 when the figure stood at 71.3. It was at its peak in 2007 when the figure was 72.5. It goes without saying that participants in different parts of the world will answer the questions to the survey very differently, and we will have a regional breakdown a bit later on. But it should be noted as well that the survey was carried out concerning the 12 months ahead, namely 2014. And despite this level of optimism, there certainly is a level of cautiousness too that's running throughout the survey. Combined growth prospects from the manufacturers and distributors, rental companies and end users that took part are remarkably similar to last year's results. Overall, 45% of participants are expecting growth in 2014, slightly more than 2013. 18% are forecasting no growth, which is a happy 4% decline on last year, while 8% are looking to reduce growth of 0 to 10%, which is 1% less than last year. Breaking down those figures, purchasing plans and sales expectations are on the up. For example, 63% of rental companies worldwide say they will grow their fleet compared to 39% in last year's survey. 15% are planning to replace their machines, which is down from 15% last year. These positive numbers are brought down somewhat by the manufacturers and distributors, who are expecting a mixed year ahead. Those predicting more than 10% sales growth are markedly up by 7% on last year. But there is a significant drop in those forecasting 1 to 10% growth, from 55% last year to 39% this year. Working along that table, 12.3% are looking at 0 to 10% declines in sales, compared to just 2.6% last year, and 7% predict more than 10% declines, compared to 3% in the last survey. These figures may represent a slightly more realistic view of the market than last year. And perhaps there's a sense too that countries like China, Brazil and other emerging nations have a lot of opportunities, but that there are a huge amount of challenges ahead. Even in North America, where the story has been very positive over the last 18 months, comments made by those taking part in the survey from the continent range from expectations are that aerial platforms will continue to have growth opportunities for several years, increases in our fleet should remain consistent into 2014. Other comments were, however, cost pressures will increase and it will remain static. Let's not be too pessimistic, however. The regional figures from the survey promise strong growth in North America. Nevertheless, participants expecting a 1 to 10% decline represent 9% of those taking part, compared to 2% last year. It is possible, of course, that this slight drop in confidence simply represents a strong market, where those taking part are starting from a higher base than last year, compared to other parts of the world. In Europe, the comments are understandably mixed in tone, although the overall mood has improved compared to last year. We all know that market conditions are radically different when comparing countries in the south of Europe to those in the north. In light of this, it is not easy to make a sweeping statement about Europe. One participant from Europe said it is clear that the crisis has passed in Europe. Business, construction and industrial is growing, and this will be very fast in 2014 to 2015 and reasonable in 2015 to 2017. This is a sentiment shared by a good number of others. On the other side of the coin, there were comments like, still suicidal bidding going on despite of plenty of work available for all, and it will remain at 2013 levels, no growth. The figures in the graphs bear this out. Confidence is about the same as last year among those who operate in Europe. Expectations for more than 10% growth are up a smidgen at 17.6%, while those predicting 1 to 10% growth are down marginally at 35%. Those looking at no growth number the same as last year at 28%, and overall those looking at declines are basically the same. The message is, growth is on the horizon, but it certainly won't happen in all parts of Europe, and the market is still wavering in others. In Australia and New Zealand, those expecting growth next year are significantly higher than last year, and those expecting no growth has dropped a little, while further along the graph the declines have risen. Two comments from the region are, the Australian market has been depressed for 2 years. Next year will bring opportunities and challenges when the market improves and rental companies start to update fleets. And in Sydney, return on investment will decline as particular companies get super aggressive on large-scale projects. This usually feeds down to the smaller clients expecting the same rates for their equipment. Turning to the emerging markets. In South America, there is almost a unanimous verdict that the market will rise by 1% to 10% next year, although it must be noted, most of those who took part were in Brazil. There will be some declines, say the survey results, but they will be minimal. One participant said, in Brazil, the trend towards access equipment is growing greatly because it is still a very primitive market, while another commented, the client safety requirements are permanently increasing and leading to more use of this equipment. In Asia Pacific, the mood is even more buoyant than last year, albeit marginally. Comments include, there will be great potential as there will be more strict safety regulation and the demand for aerial platforms should increase and rental rates will increase in 2014. For Africa and the Middle East, expectations of growth are almost identical to last year, although there is an emergence of doubt this year with 12.5% of those who took part in the region predicting a 1 to 10% decline next year. This percentage figure stood at 0 in last year's table. One company said, there will be more demand for 2014, but it will be tempered by an increase in new entries to the rental market. Last but not least, on the Indian subcontinent, confidence is still strong with expected growth, although it is not as strong as last year, particularly in the 1 to 10% growth area. The more than 10% decline section of the graph is also suffering. Last year, there were virtually no expectations of falls. However, comments from the region were generally positive. India will show a good upswing with projects being launched, and another said, in India the market is growing. I hope you enjoyed Access International's roundup of the Confidence Survey 2013. All the graphs are available in the magazine, which is available for download from khl.com. Subscriptions are also available on the website.